Thank you for
Oh,
joining for the
hold on,
PEBCAK.
hold on,
Oh, God.
hold on.
Oh
It's
man, are you kidding
always
me?
Glenn.
Three, two,
No, I do
one.
the 3, 2, 1 record.
Okay, go.
When you have your own podcast, you can do it, Glenn.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 20 of 2024. I'm Chris Louie, and happy birthday to my lovely wife, Grace.
Happy birthday!
With me, I have my co-host, the Cloud God, who I got to see this week at RSA.
First and foremost, happy birthday, Grace. I wonder what it's like to be 21 again. You know, one can only imagine. And yeah, I got to see you at RSA for a very small window of time, despite being there for 4 full days. I hated it, but it is what it is. I had a good time.
And we have Glenn Medina, or should we call him On The Go Glenn, or OTGG. The three of us never got together at RSA at the same time. I saw Brian and I saw Glenn. I didn't see both of you together though.
Truly apologize for that, but because I didn't have floor duty, I ended up running around with my head cut off, trying to get 2 meetings in different locations around San Francisco. So it was quite a feat, but I got it done. In between all that, trying to meet with customers as well, because since I am local.
It was also a
did see
game of
Glenn
like
for-
dodge the dope fiends too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Glenn for
And-
10 minutes, and when I did see him, it was because he was hanging out with Palo Alto Network. So maybe we should call him FGG for F Glenn Medina. I have no idea.
Thanks,
Whatever.
man.
Yeah.
Gaping vulnerability, Glenn, GVG.
Yeah.
Oh,
Supporting the
man.
competition, you know. It was-
I'm not even going to talk about the announcement that just happened the other day, but I'll stay quiet.
Yeah, I think we're actually not allowed to, so we have to
Yeah.
keep that
Let's not.
under wraps for a little bit. Maybe in a few weeks we'll be able to talk about it. The gag order will be
Right.
lifted.
So did you guys have fun? I know I'm tired. I'm pooped.
That's topic 1. Let's save it for topic 1, Glenn.
All right.
All right, let's go.
If you guys care to read the notes ahead of time, you would have known that.
Needless to say, happy birthday, Grace. I can't believe you're married to Chris still. But yeah, let's go. Is
13 wonderful years.
that all? But your kid's like 14, right? I'm just kidding.
No guests this week, as we are recording quite late in the week due to travel schedules. Combined, we have decades of information security experience and are here not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This week, we're going to talk about the annual RSA Security Conference. A notorious hacker gets outed. For our third topic, the intelligence agencies get a little more intelligent, and close with teacher appreciation talk. For our first topic, we're all fresh off attending the RSA Security Conference this week in San Francisco. What did you all think?
So this is my first time at RSA in which my only time actually walking the floor was to go visit the Zscaler booth for 5 minutes and then turn right back around. So I was literally back-to-back briefings all day. So I didn't get to do anything. I'm about to catch all the keynotes online and whatnot. And I normally like to walk in and go either on the fringes or in between the North and South Hall to go look at like a little bit more of the niche companies that are out there to see if there's anything really, really cool. But I didn't get to see it. And heck, I don't even know what the buzzword is. I'm going to assume it was AI, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think everything was like AI driven now. It's 2 letters. Unbelievable.
That was one thing that I noticed. AI. It's twofold. One is AI powered XYZ technology, so everything's AI powered now. And then the other thing was AI security. So everyone that's coming up with their own large language models, there's like prompt injection detection, there's DLP related to LLMs, there's just all these startups that were created around this whole AI ecosystem.
Fun times.
Yeah, one of our former colleagues came up to me. I was chatting with one of our transformation architects, and one of our former colleagues just comes up like, "Hey guys, let me tell you about my startup." I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'm sitting through your sales pitch here.
Was
What
it
was
AI?
it? You want to tell? Yeah.
It had something to do with prompt injection detection, DLP. There's a tie-in with Zscaler. So I think there's a point in approaching us, but that person was just trying to scrounge a business and say, hey, send your customers my way. We do AI way better than you guys, but let's partner up together anyway.
It was literally your talking point right before this talking point was his pitch. You're already pitching for him. I love that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I will
What
say,
was the size, did you think?
what was that, Glenn?
What was the size? What did you guys think from how busy it was? I've seen it busier before,
Oh,
but
pre-COVID, way
it's
busier. Yeah.
yeah,
I think last year was way
But
busier too.
yeah.
From what I remember, the booths were way more crammed last year. Like this time, like we were in the North Hall this year, which is the ones that people pay more money to get into. Everything was more spread out. There was actually empty spaces around like the edges of the conference. It used to be wall to wall, like literally wall to wall, and the walkways were just so jam packed. But this time it was a bit more spread out, and it wasn't as loud. So that's another indicator that there weren't as many people, just because it just was not as loud as previous years.
He graduated to the North Hall, but in the back corner.
Yeah.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
That's right.
You know what's funny is when I first started going to RSA and pulling booth duty, people would call me a booth babe. And I kind of understood it because in some other booths, it was like you might have women in there. But this year, it felt like it was this booth dudes. I didn't see any, like I think we've given up on that notion entirely.
I think it was,
I don't know about
maybe Glenn can remind me, was it 10 years ago or so? Like, I remember, cause I've been going to RSA for maybe 15 years now. And I remember when I first went there were like literal babes. Like they would hire models, like female models, to just hand out swag and get badge skins and everything. And there's some kind of controversy that says we don't want to become one of those kinds of shows, so knock it off with the real booth babes.
Yeah.
And then, companies got around it. They would just hire attractive marketing people to do it. Like, technically not a booth babe. We didn't hire a model, but we have this model-esque person that works for us.
They got pretty racy there, didn't they? And they had ladies in leotards, tumbling down, doing carnival acts.
Yeah.
So
and then when
now they're just giving away
goodness.
motorcycles. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I didn't see that one. Did Sentinel-1 give away that F1 car?
Somebody was giving away. Is it not Ducati? Or is it a Ducati? It starts with the D.
Ducati.
What kind of motorcycle?
Ducati.
Dirt or real?
Real. Yeah,
Ducati's a nice
real
motorcycle.
Street bike. Yeah. Got a duck.
But I'm sure they got a ton of scans, but I don't know that there's really value in. You know what I mean? Like it generated, I guess, a marketing email. Yeah. So I don't know. But I will say, Glenn, your guys' booth was very busy when I walked by.
Very busy.
Good job, you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Been picking up steam. Last year was the first year that we had a booth, and it was jam-packed last year, and this year was just as bad. I mean, just as good, meaning it was pretty full end to end. I was told the folks over there did not have a chance to take many breaks, but man, kudos to them.
And Glenn skipped out on booth duty. He's like, hey, keep up the good work. I'm going to be over here drinking whiskey with the customers.
Let's not be mean now. I did have customers.
I did. I said you're drinking whiskey with the customers.
Yeah.
I did walk by I walked by the CIA booth. I stopped at the FBI booth, and let me tell you, the people working there look exactly the way that you think they would look.
You would imagine.
So I'll leave it at that.
Like an analyst.
Yeah.
These weren't field agents.
You
These
know,
are analysts.
years ago, their booths were way smaller. How did they get the funding to get a big 20 by 20, like within the middle of the floor as well? Prime real estate. That is some serious taxpayer money right there.
Oh,
yeah, I think the U.S. government's finally prioritizing security. Like, even I think it was last week, I want to say, or last month, that the White House just dropped this executive. I don't know if it was executive or something that basically said they're lowering the bar on the physical requirements to become an agent in the intelligence agency, specifically focused on security. Or maybe it was like they dropped the requirement for a college degree, because there's lots of very talented people out there that skip college, but if you just say you have to have this piece of paper to get this job, and no wonder we have like 200,000 job openings and not enough people applying for it.
No wonder now you can get a job, Chris. It's been your dream, right, to go work for them. No college degree necessary.
Yeah, right. I'm too
So
old,
I will,
actually.
yeah. On the note of the FBI booth, um, like if we did a compare and contrast FBI versus Wiz, right? Wiz was like a box of crunch berries, right? Like it was very much out there, a lot of things going on, right? And then if the FBI was a box of cereal, it was one of those boxes of cereal like when we were a kid, where it was a white box, black letters, cornflakes. You turn it over to the other side to see the ingredients. Just said the same thing as it said on the front, cornflakes. That's all it is. Like it was probably the most plain Jane thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But good for them.
It's the old malto meal cereal.
Yeah, isn't that Malto Meal? Isn't that a Walmart brand?
It's a, I don't know if it's a private label. It's a generic brand for sure.
Oh no, Great Value is Walmart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Another surprising thing,
So
some of
how
the
many of
major
you guys?
players
Yeah,
weren't
go ahead.
there in cybersecurity that we're used to seeing. Some of them just were plain old not there. Not got to name names, but surprising that they don't feel like the investment is worth it anymore. I know they did stuff offsite, but they did not have a booth this year. And then some other people that I always see on the sponsor board of, Diamond, Triple, Platinum, whatever sponsor last year, zero sponsorship this year. And they got booted into the South Hall.
You know who showed up this year was Broadcom.
They did.
That was
Right
amazing.
next to
They
us,
were right
too.
next to us.
Yeah. It was Symantec
Yeah.
and Carbon Black.
And
Their better together
yeah,
story.
yeah.
Do you know who was in the North and the South Hall?
Cisco.
Yeah.
And Sentinel
So
1, I think. I think Sentinel 1 had multiple booths, too.
so I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When
Yeah.
I told you I was having trouble finding the Zscaler booth, and you're like, "Oh, it's back behind Cisco." I was in the South Hall at that point in time, and I walked. And I was like, "It's not here. These guys are totally like just messing with me." And then I ran into Amir Levy, and so we were just walking. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to the Zscaler booth." I was like, "I'm gonna follow this dude." And so then I found out it was the North Hall, which happens to also have another Cisco booth. And I was like, "All right, they weren't." I swear to you, I was like, "Man, there's nothing. There's no iBots. There's no nothing behind Cisco. These guys are just messy. They're just wild goose hunt, man."
I just have that money to burn, I
You're
guess.
so funny. So let me ask you guys this: from a fashion standpoint, how many people did you guys see wearing Air Jordans in many color combinations? And of those, how many did you see were wearing fake Air Jordans? Like their company branded Air Jordans. You're like, oh, come on, that's not real.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I've
the Air
seen.
Force, is it Air Jordans or Air Force Ones?
No, they're Air Jordans. Well, I guess some people wearing Air Force Ones too, because
Yeah,
Air
I
Force
didn't
Ones are just plain
see
white.
any personalized Air Jordans.
You didn't?
Yeah,
I
same.
did
There
not.
were a
Yeah.
couple, or maybe
Yeah.
they were buying them and they had the same color as their. God, there's so many different styles and color combinations for Air Jordans now. But a couple of them, you could tell they were kind of on the lighter side of the leather.
I saw a
Yeah.
lot of people with the Air Force Ones that were matching their suit that they were wearing. So like they had a suit with like blues and yellows. They intentionally bought a pair of Air Force Ones to match.
In
I'm
that
like,
color
like
combination.
yeah, and I've wore Air Force Ones before. Those are a terrible shoe. Like you're literally just doing it because
Yeah.
you're an
It's
idiot because you want to
fashion.
be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fashion. I'm like, you know who else caters to you? Probably like Louis Vuitton. You probably walk around with a big old Gucci belt like an idiot as well.
You're saying about people that wear Gucci belts,
That or
Brian.
Coach.
What do they say about that?
Like Glenn's out here like legit checking people's sneakers from 20 feet away. He's like, no, the blue's a little too light. That's a fake.
It's hard to miss it when you're just walking around and it's like, God, does anybody have any style anymore other than wearing Air Jordans? And I tell you what, Michael Jordan doesn't wear those because he said those shoes made his feet bleed on his last time wearing them.
Yeah, in The Last Dance. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah. He's like, cut these things off.
Did he even make it through the half? I think he wore it for the first half and didn't even wear them for the second half, right?
I can't remember. I just know that he said his feet were bleeding. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have well, anyways, I think this is everything we wanted to talk about. I do have a quick programming note that I think should be announced. No, I'm not quitting. I'm actually going to stay around, but I think we're going to start changing up to help alleviate the load from Chris, because he's always complaining that he's the producer and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to force us to go towards a different way of recording, and then I'll help with some of the post stuff. So we're going to move to Riverside FM to do it. And there's really two reasons. I think that the primary one is one to help out Chris. And then the second one is that it will record both audio and video. So for everyone listening, pretty soon, we're not going to have full length video podcasts. But I think we're going to start taking out some of the questionable things that Glenn is always saying, and making that a 30 or a 60-second snippet, and post it on Reels or something to help drive more listenership. So looking forward to that.
All right, thanks for telling your producer about this major change to the platform.
Anything I can do to help you, brother. Like, you're always complaining. Now I'm gonna lighten the load just a little bit, and we're gonna have a good time. Which means it's probably gonna be more work for you in the end, because I'm like, dude, you need to create like a PEBCAK Twitter and PEBCAK YouTube and whatnot. So it's all I need now.
Yeah,
I honestly think Chris likes complaining. It's just me. I think he does. He's okay with the complaining. He's a martyr.
He's a big old crybaby. That's true.
We already got the YouTube, and we got the Instagram account. So what other social media platforms do we need to hit? I guess we probably should create an official LinkedIn.
We don't have a LinkedIn? Oh, yeah.
Not for the podcast. All right. We'll get right on that. Let's see. The only other thing I would mention is everything's SASE. Every vendor coming out of the woodwork, every startup, they all have some kind of SASE story to it, which was the buzzword like 4 years ago, I think, but is somehow making a comeback now.
The other thing I didn't notice any other enterprise browser.
Yeah, no Talon, no search security, no. Yeah, no. I think you're the only ones.
Yeah, they just know better.
Google had a booth there, but it was Google Cloud Security, not their Google Managed Chrome.
Yeah. I think they're still on the AI kick, though.
I did see somebody with a Microsoft security vest on, and he was resting his laptop on top of his luggage while standing in line checking into the hotel. I was like, this dude's an idiot. So
he has a lot of confidence. Yeah,
he had a lot of confidence in that setup.
Stand.
And say I saw him from the side. I was like, oh, this guy's stupid. And then I saw his shirt and I was like, he's really stupid. Just kidding. That was a joke only. I'm sure you're a smart person.
We love our Microsoft.
I couldn't tell if it was a Mac or a Windows. But if it was a Windows, I bet you he didn't care if it fell or not.
He just get a new one.
He was running Google Chrome.
Yeah.
All right, for our second topic, this will be our ransomware story of the week. The secret identity of the alleged leader of the LockBit Ransomware gang, known online only as LockBit Sup, has finally been revealed. In a countdown that looked more like a rare sneaker drop, the UK's National Crime Agency, their NCA, posted a 24-hour countdown time to when they would reveal his true identity. It was actually, they said 24 hours, come back for a surprise. Everybody pretty much knew that this is what they were going to reveal anyway. For years, LockBit Sup flew under the radar and his identity was never compromised. After the LockBit gang fell apart, mostly due to law enforcement actions, they revealed that LockBit Sup is a 31-year-old man named Dmitry Yurovich Koroshev. Hyundai.
Tesla.
During his tenure as leader, he extorted over 2,000 organizations and amassed payments of over $500 million in ransoms. LockBit Sup is believed to have made more than $100 million, as he typically took about 20% of those ransom commissions for himself. The U.S. and Australia issued an indictment and sanctioned Koroshev. While we know as long as he stays in Russia, he will never be caught or prosecuted. However, everyone now knows he has $100 million, so that makes him a very attractive target for mobsters and government officials wanting their pound of flesh. Some good old street justice might be in order here.
Dude, that's insane.
100 million in Russia.
Yeah, 100 million US in Russia.
Oh,
He can just be the president of the country now. That kind of money.
Yeah.
You know what's really going to happen? He's going to get drafted and thrown into Ukraine.
He's
Just right
on
into
the
the old
front
meat
lines.
grinder. Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll be on the front lines.
and then,
Just another name in
and
the
then
dirt.
Putin's going to take his money.
I'll say for a fee, we'll keep you on the back lines, but otherwise you're going straight to the front lines.
I don't know about you guys. I like a good true underdog story. I think he made it. He came from the slums. Now look at him.
Yeah, he's a 100 millionaire. So VX Underground, I guess, did some digging into this. Now that we know who he is, they did some OSINT and checked his social media feeds and everything. So he's relatively young, 31 years old. He likes sushi and Cheesecake Factory. I didn't even know they had Cheesecake Factory in Russia, but apparently they do. Drives a Mercedes, does not own a yacht, doesn't live in a mansion, doesn't live in New York City. I don't know why anyone thought this person would live in New York City. Apparently he's into gardening, has some nice suits, has lots of money, but has the hard time laundering it, owns a couple of business, plays pool, big fan of Apple products. It is like a real autobiography of this guy online now.
This a pseudo Andrew Tate? No, because Andrew Tate actually owns a yacht too, doesn't he?
And ask Brian, he's the Andrew Tate fan of the three of us.
Yeah, I don't know. All I do know is, like, I'm not surprised to hear that he doesn't own a yacht. Like, who wants to own a yacht in the North Arctic Ocean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty, unless, is Crimea part of Russia?
It is now.
Well, it depends on. Depends.
So
who you're asking.
I guess they're not totally landlocked from a desirable ocean, but yeah, I can't see him doing that. I mean, to go through hell to get there, so hell no.
Yeah, Red Sea. There's some bodies of water you could potentially have a yacht. Well, like all those Russian oligarchs all had yachts. Maybe they're all in the Red Sea.
It's not frozen all the time. Dr. Zero Trust.
That guy's an idiot.
And that he's not joking about.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna wave someone's flag, you might as well just let them know it.
Yep, it's true. At least we haven't caught the guy yet. So there's this guy, and then there's the other guy. I didn't know this about. Do you guys remember Wirecard, that payments processor company from maybe a couple years ago that ended up being a gigantic fraud? So they're
No.
like COO, I think, also fled to Russia, so he's never going to face justice. But he does have a ton of money. So it's the paradox, or the dilemma is, if you have a ton of money, you can go to Russia, they'll hide you. But if you're in Russia, some people know you have a lot of money, and that could cause problems too. You just have to have the right connections and know the right people to pay off. Yeah, well, that's one less ransomware group we have to worry about. There's still plenty of other ones out there, but at least LockBit for now seems to be defunct.
Whatever.
He's on the
just,
run.
No, he's gonna have to double down. Like, now that he knows he's a target, he needs to get to 1 billion to really protect his assets. So he's gonna be out there grinding, guys. You don't know.
Yeah, let's just start ransoming everybody. It was them, and then the Black Cat Alpha V group. They just exit scammed with 22 million, so they're kind of defunct now too. There's probably going to be some rebranding and relaunches, but for right now, some of the major groups have been disrupted, but we don't really see the number of ransomware attacks slowing down. I think there's just other smaller groups coming up in their place.
Well, they just, like, the second command just takes over, right? It's not like they totally fall off the map. It's just, if it's a group, I take it that it's the next person in line, or the next supposed stronger coder in line that will do this.
It is, but LockBit allegedly all the FBI and the UK and CA, they took down the entire infrastructure and dismantled the entire organization. So usually, you're right, if they only catch the leader, they're fine. But if they dismantle all of their infrastructure in the meantime, then it's going to be a problem.
What do you think? They just went to AWS and took down all their stuff?
Pretty much, yeah. One of these bulletproof hosting services. Not quite so bulletproof. For our third topic, this will be our ChatGPT story of the week. Microsoft has built a top secret air-gapped version of ChatGPT for the U.S. intelligence community.
Isn't it called Copilot? not ChatGPT.
They use the ChatGPT engine. They might have wrapped it in Copilot, but they're calling it like GPT-4 for governments or GPT-4 for spies or something like that. Only about 10,000 people in the intelligence community have access to the ChatGPT for spies. The purpose of the super secret project is to more quickly analyze data and feed it intelligence that normally could not be uploaded online for fear of interception and data leak risks. For example, if you feed the GPT model financial data for multiple entities, you just ask it questions to make inferences about who's paying who and to detect anomalies, something a trained analyst would typically need to do. There's always the risk that the LLM can hallucinate since it's not connected to the internet. It's a great tool to have, but I think it will have to be backed by humans so you don't get into this war games or this Mission Impossible, that new movie scenario when the AI tries to just kill people.
So this is
aren't all those models air gapped? That's a dumb question. They're not constantly being fed, right? You build them and they kind of cut it off from the rest.
I think that was true of GPT-3 when OpenAI originally launched. They only had knowledge up till 2021. I think the new GPT-4 models have access to the internet now.
That's terrifying. Dangerous. But of course, it's like just the quote unquote good guys get access to this. So like they get the version of ChatGPT with no guardrails, which is what we should get, right? Like I think that we should, but at the same time, I'm like, hell no, we should not have that open to the general public. But it's one of those things that like we knew it was possible, and now we're starting to see that. And I have personally tried to train ChatGPT 3.5 with like some of my writing styles. Like, sure, I can do that. So I send it to him. I was like, now write me a blog post on this topic. And it's just like, it's nowhere near me. So it won't ingest data. I can't train it unless you start paying for it. But whatever, at least the U.S. intelligence community gets to do cool stuff and we don't.
They remove the guardrails. We should
invite ChatGPT to our podcast.
That'd be funny to have an entire podcast in just GPTs talking to each other.
Have ChatGPT and Copilot, and who else is the other one? Bard,
Gemini.
All talk together. Yeah.
Grok.
That'd be funny.
You could ask like this ChatGPT for intelligence agencies, feed it a bunch of movements for this terrorist and say, where's the most likely place we should drone strike this guy? And then feed me the drone strike data. Like just have everything just automated.
That's scary. Again, I just watch Enemy of the State, and that stuff just scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's like all those analysts that are like analyzing everything in real time and trying to predict things and coming up with ideas of how to spy on this guy. That can all be done by a computer.
Yeah. You know what? There was a movie about this called Eagle Eye. You guys remember that with Shia LaBeouf before he went crazy?
Michelle Monaghan.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was some nutso stuff.
Intercepted this instrument, put some kind of bomb in the instrument, and the instrument was supposed to explode at a very certain point, and it was supposed to trigger like a chain reaction of events. I vaguely remember that movie, but yeah, that could be the future.
Basically, AI deemed a whole bunch of people just enemy of the state type stuff.
Yeah.
So it was doing it for the good of mankind.
So So I was just going to ask, so if I upgrade to GPT-4, do I have access to the internet through that lens? Or is it just certain?
So. I forgot if GPT-4 has access to the internet or if it's a more updated date, but one of the GPT models does have access to the internet now. I don't know if it's 4 or if it's like 4.5, if there's even such a thing.
So for $25 a month, you get team version of it, plus is $20. I just want one that I can train myself.
You should get the local version. Like you could download a local version of it and then train it on your own laptop or your own computer.
I'll give it a shot, see what it comes up with.
Yeah,
my favorite thing about
try as well.
Microsoft Copilot is like sometimes I'll ask it a question and you can say it says searching the internet or it says searching something. I'm like, why are you searching for anything? Like you're supposed to be thinking.
Yeah, they just typed your search query into Bing and it's just going to read you the result.
Yeah. Bing bong. F your life.
Well, thankfully, this ChatGPT for spies is air gapped, so it can't be launching nukes or concocting plans to kill people. They would actually have to trick somebody. It had to be some kind of AI social engineering to trick a person into doing something that they shouldn't be doing, by like feeding them bad intelligence or something.
Yeah, literally on Copilot it says searching for results, and then it came back and was like, I said, "Who is Brian Deach?" So this is the Microsoft one. No, it actually, so ChatGPT 3.5 doesn't say, it says as of 2022. I don't know who that dude is. Yeah. Copilot came back and hit me up right off the bat. It was just like, oh, technology security guy from Zscaler. So, and then a legal.
Nice.
Yeah. Three Brian Deaches. The second one was a lawyer who I've actually talked to before. And the last one is the guy that does photography, which is not me.
The lawyer we know is still using your email, right? So
for his retirement accounts.
No, that was with the domain that is not Brian Deach, so it was a different domain.
Oh, okay. The
Brian Incorporated domain.
The other day, I asked I never use Siri because it's just not good. So the other day, I was curious, and I had a simple question. I think the question was, if I'm a U.S. citizen, do I need a visa to visit France, in 2024? That seemed like a pretty easy answer to find right away. And I asked Siri this, and then Siri just came back. It's like, okay, I found this on the web. And it's just a whole bunch of links that I had to read through. And I just said, this is why Apple's losing the AI wars. Like, I could ask ChatGPT this. I could ask Gemini this. I could ask Llama this. And they give me the straight answer. No. The answer is no. You don't need a visa this year. You'll need one next year. But yeah, just Apple is really, really behind on the AI game.
When you weren't looking, I looked at your search history on like Siri, what you've asked, and you're like, Siri, tickle my balls. I was like, sure, lay down, put the phone underneath the balls, and it will vibrate. And that's what you do. That's what you get from putting your phone down in front of me. You're gonna have to obviously edit that one out. I love that Glenn's like, what?
Or I'll leave it in, Brian.
Beep.
Yeah, and I know that I think Google actually approached Apple to say, just put Bard or Gemini in your phone, and then we'll integrate it seamlessly. So Google gets more search results data on users. Apple doesn't have to spend billions of dollars to develop their own LLM. Technically, it's a win-win, but I think with the Apple, I think they said with their M4 chip, which they just announced in the new iPads, and then probably the new MacBook soon, they said they're going to have like specific AI cores in there. So I know they're cooking something up because Siri is just awful.
But you know what she does a great job of? Listening to me when I'm presenting and then sending a random text message to my wife. So, or children, or a group chat, the last group chat I was on.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, for our last topic, it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about National Teacher Appreciation Week, which happens to be this week. What was that one teacher or something a teacher said or did that you've never forgotten?
Yeah, so mine was back in high school. Go ahead.
No, please. This is going to be a good one. Would she tell you, Brian, that she loved you? Didn't want you to
Mary
graduate.
Kayla Turno.
Yeah, that would be. I was homeschooled, so this is really weird. So, just
that would be really weird.
Yeah. So I was, back in high school, I was a somewhat problematic kid, and my coach, he was very authoritative, and he would challenge us to get better is for the basketball team. And so I was constantly, challenging his rules and priorities. And eventually my behavior led to me being kind of dismissed from the team. I was forced to, confront, my attitude and my choices. And eventually I humbled myself enough to, go back, talk to the coach, and, recognize the value of like the true discipline and teamwork. And so I reconciled with him, and we ended up, winning state championship. And I just remember the one quote he had was like, our deepest fear is that not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond our measure, which 100% of this is bullshit, because that's just the synopsis of Coach Carter. So I don't know if you guys were catching on to that or not.
Nice. Just describing a movie.
I don't have any teachers. I can't remember any teachers, so I just did a plot line to Coach Carter instead.
Yeah, it's like when you were walking home from school, and this white lady pulls up in the car next to you and says, "Get in the car, get in the car." That's from The Blind
No.
Side, Sandra Bullock.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Blindside, yeah.
I should have done that one as well. Yeah. Or the plot line to either maybe Toy Story or Finding Nemo.
Yeah, you're separated from your dad, and he crossed the ocean to come find you. One teacher I remember was Mr. Mo. His first name was not Lester, but Mr. Mo. He was my high school computer teacher, and he kind of just like took me under his wing. Like even after that class was over, I was his TA, his teacher assistant, and helped him out. And what I remember about him though is he recognized my ability with computers and wanted me to focus on that, and cultivated that. And then he really pushed me to go to Cal Poly. That I actually probably hadn't heard of that school before he introduced it to me. And then sure enough, when it came time to apply for college, he was there rooting me on, and eventually I would go to that school, and that's where I got my degree. It's where I met my wife. So I think that was a life-changing moment when he helped me out there and really tried to push me to go there.
He was the architect of your entire life.
Yeah. Just those
man, that's awesome.
small decisions, small things that people done to get you where you are.
This blurred out thing is not looking good.
Yeah.
Well, good old Mr. Mo Lester. Shout out to
Mr. Mo. Yeah.
Mr. Mo Lester.
He's still around. Yeah. And I'd say there's another teacher another high school teacher, Mr. Sarah. And he was a cool teacher. He actually literally wrote the book. He was a math teacher. He wrote the book. We all use his book. And he was one of the guys that I guess taught me to bend the rules a little bit, because I vividly remember this story from high school. This is decades ago. I remember there's this girl in class. She was having a rough day, and I think she had like a really bad headache or something. And for some reason, she couldn't go to the nurse's office. So the nurse wasn't there, or she couldn't go home. So this girl's like begging for like headache medicine or something. Then the teacher says, "Well, I can't legally give this to you." Like he kept a bottle of Tylenol or something in his desk. Like I can't legally give it to you because you're a minor and parental consent, all that stuff. So I can see you're in a tough spot. You're in a lot of pain. He's like, "I'm going to leave this bottle on my desk, and I'm going to turn around. And if you take something from it, I can't stop you from taking it." So it's like, okay, he did the right thing, even though there's all these rules around it. And then I kind of just took that. So I took that, and years later, when I was the tech support manager at a company, and it was like Friday. It was like 2:00 on a Friday. It was a really nice day, and like Fridays are always dead for us anyway. And I didn't have the authority to release my employees. So, but I had asked my boss, and like, no, if your butt has to be in the chair 8 hours a day, that's what we pay you for. If you're not in the chair, we don't pay you. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just told my team, I said, hey, I can't legally tell you can go home or go to the beach today, but if you go to the bathroom and don't come back, I'm not going to send the search party out for you. And then just everybody took off after that.
Did someone drown in the toilet?
Still what?
Did anybody drown in the toilet?
Well, yeah, they never came back, but they were back on Monday. Yeah, so those two teachers, I think, that made. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of other teachers. Oh, I'll let Glenn go before I actually tell my next story.
Well, I don't have any inspiring stories like you guys all. I had one that inspired me to not listen to him and do my own thing, and in spite of him, actually do better. So I had a counselor that learned that I was going to join the military. And he told me, "I can't believe you're going to do that. That's such a waste of. You're going to be nobody. You're gonna, it's no one does well in the military. Blah 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 blah." And I just kind of looked at him like, my dad joined the military. My father, my uncles, and joined the military. How dare you talk bad about the military? That's just not a good thing to do.
Yeah, you're a military family.
In spite of that, I joined the military. Yeah, in spite of that, I joined the military, and here I am today. I'm still a loser, so yeah.
Guess he was right, Glenn. I guess he was right.
He was right. He was right, yeah.
But you're a loser that serves, so that makes you cool.
It does.
I'm a loser that serves, so I have military rights. There you go. Veterans rights, excuse me.
Yeah. Honorable discharge.
Wouldn't look back. Yeah. For those of you that want to or think about joining the military, don't know necessarily what you're doing, it's a good place to go to learn manners. I can tell you that much right now. Manners and being on time, just good old things that you should learn from the get-go.
Life
right?
skills.
How to walk, how to talk. Yeah.
How to wake up.
One guy today, I was on a plane today, and this guy had clearly passed, when you board and then you realize you're in the wrong seat or seat number. And he was just bogarting his way up, fish swimming upstream, not saying excuse me, and was staring at everybody like they were the dumb ones. It's like, dude, and then realized that he was still wrong and needed to go to the back of the plane. And it's like, you get no reason to say excuse me, pardon me, and was just an idiot the whole time. I don't know if anyone's listening. Please be polite. Just treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Golden rule.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, I lost my entire train of thought. Never mind.
My last story was related to what you were going to talk about, Glenn, is that there are teachers that were inspiring and pushing you to be the best person you can be. And then there's these teachers that tell you you're never going to amount to anything, and they push you in a different way. They push you in a way that says, "Oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong." And I've had some of those teachers along the way that would say I would never amount to anything, I don't try hard, and that I would never accomplish anything. And that's one of those things you think back and say, well, I could give up here, but I actually have a lot of people to prove wrong, so I'm just going to keep going.
That's right. Screw them.
I just realized what I was going to say. On your experience with the airplane, on the way back, this dude, I don't know what he was thinking, but he was trying to make his luggage fit on, in the bin.
Overhead bin, yeah.
We push it, but I thought he was giving birth. He's like, for longer than it should have. It felt like 5 minutes. It's probably 30 seconds to the point where I was like, I'm going to get up and help this fool. Cause he's pushing and pushing. And then finally he gets it and he lets out the, finally. So then he sits down and the entire plane ride, he is sighing, but we're on a plane and it's loud AF. He's like, oh, God. I'm like, and he's right behind me. He was driving me nuts. I was like, what the heck is going on with this dude? So it came time to check out or to take off. I quickly grabbed my stuff and stood in front of him. And I was like, please don't give birth again, trying to pull this thing out. But he didn't, thank God. So
Nice.
Got the heck out of
Well,
Dodge.
the funny ones, in those situations, the funny ones are the people that are not observant of the space that they occupy. Like people with large backpacks that are on their bag and they're trying to walk through the aisle and they turn to go put their luggage up and they smack you
with the
you're sitting in the
backpack.
aisle seat.
Yep.
With the backpack. And it's like, dude, and so now I just put my arm up. Yeah, and so in an immovable spot. So if they try to turn, they screw themselves up.
Yeah.
Right? Because
you preemptively block them.
Yeah. What a bunch of dorks. That's why I like Japan, because in Japan, when you go on a subway, you wear your backpack in front.
Yeah. Everyone's polite there.
Smart.
They all know the etiquette.
Yeah.
No one gets out of line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is National Teacher Appreciation Week. I think it's also National Nurses Appreciation Week. So thank all the nurses out there too.
And teachers.
Yep.
Not paid enough.
Yep. If we take some of that $80 billion that we sent over to Ukraine, we could give every teacher, we could probably double every teacher's salary with that.
Oh, yeah. And get more teachers.
Yeah. All right. Well, we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week. Dad joke of the week. This week, I'm up.
You're always up.
The other day, I saw an Apple store getting robbed. Does that technically make me an eyewitness?
It does.
Ooh. Wah, wah, wah.
It makes you one of thousands of people that witness that in San Francisco every day.
That's true.
It's just like my iWatch, right?
Your iWatch. Yes, Glenn.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have to take an IBM, so let's hurry up and wrap up this podcast.
All right, to wrap things up, the RSA Security Conference is alive and well. LockBit Sup got doxxed. The CIA now gets to use ChatGPT. And thank a teacher and a nurse. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all listeners and subscribers who rated us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast in your favorite podcast listening app. My co-hosts Brian Deitch and Glenn Medina. I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
San Francisco smells like weed.
Have a nice day.